Okay, so we start with the recording. Can
And you should
everybody
see
see the screen now?
Yes.
Yes, great. Okay. So what's on the agenda today? After a brief introduction from our side, Michael Moller, who is the managing director from the Akzent Gründerservice, and who is partner on the CERN BIC program for CERN. Michael will guide us through this program. Michael, happy that you are in here today. Then our colleagues Thomas Poscher and also Hannes Summerer, both of them, they participated already in the CERN BIC screening week, and they will give their own personal impression and what they learned briefly in when they went to the CERN in Geneva. And last but not least, if there is any more questions on, let's say, the application process and the next steps, Elisabeth will guide through the next steps and the application process. And if we are all on time, I think there will be sufficient time for Q&A also. Just very briefly for all in the room who don't know the Startup Center, we support innovators and future entrepreneurs from the world of the FHWN students, employees, researchers, and alumni with innovative business ideas, and that typically in a very early stage, which is so-called typically pre-seed stage from an early idea concept to the first steps on the market. We do that on all our FHWN locations with physical startup centers in Wieselburg and in Wiener Neustadt at the city campus. How do we do that? Basically with different building blocks, ranging from extracurricular workshops to a structured or two structured programs, the so-called FHWN Accelerator program, and in Wieselburg, the CPI program together with the Akzent Gründerservice. We also offer free co-working space to all the startups and future entrepreneurs which we support. And we, of course, also cooperate with corporates and startups, be it in the mentor program or in other ways. A new cornerstone or a new stone in this, let's say, building blocks is what we're talking about today. And what we, for the first time, together with Akzent Gründerservice, can offer basically on an FHWN wide scale, regardless of the location, be it Wieselburg, be it Tulln, be it Wiener Neustadt. Basically, the target is that we can offer one or maximum two teams the opportunity to participate at the CERN BIC Screening Week, together in cooperation with the CERN Tech Transfer Center. For whom is that? Either for the ones, as we wrote, who already identified, let's say, a problem and who are looking for access to CERN technologies in order to help solving this problem, or on the other hand, for people who are interested in finding new applications for existing CERN technologies. The whole week is going to take place, hopefully in a personal setting in end of October in Geneva, where CERN is located. For whom is it? Basically for everybody who is affiliated to FHWN, be it either as a student, be it as an alumni or as an employee, or external lecturer, researcher, etc. Of course, and last but not least, of course, CERN is, as some of you, I think, very well know, much more than a large particle accelerator and collider. It's basically a tremendous pool of technology and also experts, spanning basically from the accelerator as such to industrial control and simulation, to ICT and software, and handling basically large amounts of data, and with very different applications across industries, basically from energy to healthcare and many more. That was just a very brief introduction to the today's topic. Michael, I'll stop sharing my screen now. Hand over to you, Michael. You would like to share a presentation?
Yes, I would like to share a presentation, but I already sent the presentation to Elisabeth, so she will probably be the one who shares the presentation with us.
Do you see it on the screen or not?
Not yet, Elisabeth.
Not yet. Okay. One moment. Now?
Yeah, looks good. Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Okay, well, first of all, thank you, Thomas, for the kind introduction. We are a cooperation partner of the FH campus in Wiener Neustadt, and are also cooperating with the other campuses. So it's always nice to have common projects. I would start my presentation just giving you a very, very short overview about what Accent is, and then get more into detail when it comes to the CERN BIC screening week. And I will share also the presentation together with my colleague Hannes, and also if Thomas would like to add something on it, because they have participated last year on this screening week. And I think it's always nice to have people there who already did this program, because they, of course, can better describe what they did there and what the feeling was. So maybe just to give you a short overview, Accent is, well, first of all, apologies for having the presentation in German, but we will send you an English presentation if you would like to have it. But I will talk English and try to describe what is written in German in English. Well, we are the high-tech incubator of Lower Austria. In Austria, there is a regional incubator program called A+B, and we are responsible for this technology incubator here in the area of Lower Austria. And not only for the A+B program, but we are also partner of CERN and ESA, because it was important for us as an incubator which is located around Vienna, that we needed a very prominent international network. And so we started with the CERN BIC around 6 years ago. And then another 2 or 3 years later, we are also the local partner of the ESA BIC Austria network. And as Thomas already said, we are also running the Creative Pre-Incubator program together with our partners, which is an accelerator program done with Accent and also the respective FHWN in Lower Austria. Maybe, Elisabeth, if you could switch, thank you so much. Well, we have 5 offices, actually, all located around Vienna. Our main office is located in Wiener Neustadt. It's quite empty at the moment due to this corona situation. We also have offices in Tulln, Krems, and St. Pölten. And since almost 1 year, we are also located at a business incubator, a co-working space at the Flughafen Schwechat. So we try to be the best way ever in all those locations. But our main locations are Flughafen, Tulln, and Wiener Neustadt. Exactly. So what is the Austrian BIC of CERN Technologies? I think it's important to note that whenever you have a startup here in Austria and you would like to have some technological input or some technical input on your technology or on your product, then CERN, as Thomas also said, is not only colliding particles, it's a pool of know-how. There are so many scientists there. There are so many technicians there. There are many links that startups can use to optimize their products. And what do they get if they are taken by the Austrian BIC of CERN Technologies? Where they get 40 hours of a CERN engineer, free of cost, of course. They can, what all of them love to have, they can have this CERN technology logo, which you can also see on the bottom, because of course, if you have a startup, you can use this CERN technology logo on your marketing materials. That's really cool. Then they get feedback from the CERN engineers, and they can use all the co-working spaces that I've shown before in the map. And maybe it's important to say those 40 hours is more, it's mostly much more than those 40 hours. We have had projects that had more than 600, 700 hours from CERN. So it's really developing a project and a product together. What you can see in this slide is the wideness of the technology fields. So just as I said before, it's not only colliding particles, it's also about coding, it's about cryogenics, because you need very, very low temperatures at CERN. They have a huge know-how in this area. It's about welding technologies. It's about data technologies. It's about algorithms. So it's really very, very broad. So as soon as you see some kind of linkage to those technology fields with your startup, we can help you to get access to the CERN BIC. And as we are the responsibles here in Austria for this connection, we can connect you to the KT department and see what we can do for you to get access to CERN know-how. And what is this CERN know-how for? So the startups that we had in this CERN BIC yet, they came out of these areas which are shown here on the right side. So it's all about medical or biomedical technologies. It's about aerospace technologies. We're also talking about Industry 4.0 or also cultural heritage. So it's really very broad. So don't be afraid of the big name of CERN. It's open to anybody. Of course, we need some linkage, but as soon as a linkage is there, we can help you in the best way possible. So whom are we looking for? So what we try to find here for this CERN BIC Screening Week are people which are very diverse. So we try to find a good mix consisting out of women and men from different countries, different expertises. So what we need is a mind openness for people who go there, because maybe the colleagues afterwards will explain it a little bit better. It's not only a screening week, it's not only a hackathon for 5 days. It's really jumping into the world of CERN. So all the students which are taken by the CERN BIC Screening Week, they live in the campus of CERN. So there is a campus hostel inside of CERN. There is a program being done. So last time I was there, you can go below the earth and see all those experiments, or there's a antimatter factory. So it's really amazing to be there, but it needs an open mindset, which I'm sure that all of you have. But I think that's more important. So it's about diversity and it's about the open mindset. So here is the roadmap for the BIC screening week, and this is also the point where I would like to hand over to my dear colleague Hannes, because he's coordinating this, and maybe Hannes, you can take from here and tell a little bit about the roadmap.
Sure. Well, the first step is you all have to applicate. The deadline is the 15th April, so please hurry up. The second step is that Accent and CERN will select the teams and the participants and match teams. And also the technology is matched to the teams. Then the third step is that the universities have to match a mentor to the team, because you have to do something in the before the screening week. Then we have the fourth step. It will be a kickoff with the CERN engineers and the CERN responsible persons. Last year we did it in person, but this year we have to do it online. I think it's just an informational panel, so I think there's not you don't have to work there. It's just to get in touch with CERN. Next slide, please. Yeah, the fifth step. When you on the last slide, there are some pictures. No, on the slide before. Sorry. No. Once back. Okay. Never mind. There is step 5. In this sector, you have to do some work before. You have to get business contacts and do a lot of market research. I think this is the point where the mentors of the university have to help the teams, because it's very important to do this work before. Then in the 6th step, we have the CERN screening week, the big screening week at the CERN. There the teams can work in the idea square. It's very nice new co-working space. Yeah, and you also get inputs from the experts at CERN. Yeah, next slide, please. No, once back. Yeah, and if you want to commercialize your idea, you can applicate for the Accent incubation. So no, it's not the ones. Yes, you can. You get a certificate of CERN, and you get much more. Sorry, I don't know the word. Hilfe from CERN too, and feedbacks, and it's also possible to do a master thesis with the output. And the last picture, you saw the team from last year. We commercialized their idea and now are incubated in the Accent incubator. And I think it's very interesting, and it was very great to be there to talk to these people, because he's a genius, I think, and it's very great to see the early data, and it was just an amazing experience. I would recommend it to everybody. Thank you. Are there any questions so far?
Maybe if Thomas Porsche would like to add something on this, because he also participated. I don't know if
yes, of course. I would like to. I try to share the screen.
Oh, that's good.
So I think you should see my screen now.
Yes.
Okay, I will just give you a quick retrospect to the last year. I was there in Geneva with a group of 4 students, and I was mentoring this group, and I will give you some insights on my duty as mentor. So yeah, everything is a little slow today. What was my duty as mentor? Before we went to Geneva, I helped to build the team. We made some team building workshops, and I don't know if you noticed, we used Insight Discovery, maybe heard of this, to help to build the team, to make a highly functional team. And then I also helped the team to in their ideation process. And it was always assistance. When they needed me, I was there for them to give them tools and to help them to complete their tasks. I also helped them or guided them to how to make a market research. And we decided to use an innovation process in this particular problem. We used outcome-driven innovation, jobs to be done, because some members of the team were familiar with this innovation process, and I guided them to use this innovation process to develop their ideas, to gain consumer insights, and to develop the idea. Then in Geneva, you can see here, this was the ideation square, the place where the work happened for the teams. I helped or I assisted them to work further on the idea and to do a lot of networking with stakeholders for their idea and for the market research. And what was also a big part of my mentoring was to give them presentation training. They had the possibility to test their presentations over and over again, so they would be perfect when present their idea in front of the CERN team. Now I'll show you just some impressions from the week we spent there. On the left picture, this is the second mentor from our team, Mike Heiniger from Yodel.io. The bus we have seen is in the idea square, and the very impressive big thing there is the Large Hadron Collider, where we really had the possibility to go all the way down, because it's in a long shutdown now, and we really saw where all these collisions are happening and where they measure, and found such things like the Higgs boson. On the right, you can see the antimatter factory, where they will soon start their antimatter experiments. In the middle, this is the idea square presentation area where our team gave their final presentation. And on the left, this is just one of the many tunnels below CERN. And funny thing is, they told us there are only sites if something happens, and yeah, riding is not allowed there. So this might have happened before. All in all, it was a really great time, and I hope we will see you soon in Geneva. And this was the first evening where we had cheese fondue. I think this is called Gisfondue, yeah, at the Lake Geneva, the famous Lake Geneva. Maybe you heard of it in a song. Thanks.
Tom. This is Thomas from Startup Center. Thomas and Hannes, probably you can just as an example briefly elaborate what the teams you were accompanying when you went to Geneva were working on. Just very briefly, just as examples. Yeah.
Okay, I can tell you. The team I was with made an application called C2Mon, and they used the CERN technology. And the problem they tried to solve was that there are many sensors in households, in modern households, and like water sensor and power sensors and air condition and so on. And all these sensors produce a lot of data, and many and it is often a hard task to collect all this data from households, from private households, from public households, and CERN have a technology that is capable of collecting all this data, monitoring this data, and use the monitored data to activate some processes, whatever you need. And because they have this problem, the CERN is really a town of its own, and they have many buildings, and they have to monitor this infrastructure, and this infrastructure is sometimes a self-developed infrastructure, and all on the C2Mon, this software they have, this system they have, can read nearly every data from every sensor. And the problem was they didn't want to be they didn't want to depend on one producer of a system, so they made their own. So they can use every sensor, every self-developed sensor, every self-developed actuator for their infrastructure. And it doesn't matter if this is a fire alarm or a door alarm for an open door, or for a water system, for water leakage. It doesn't matter. So and the group, the team I was there, used this system for private to develop a system for private households, for public infrastructure, to collect this data without the need to. Mostly you have for example, you have you have workers in the Gemeinden. I don't know how this word is called.
Municipalities.
Okay. Municipalities, and they collect all this data, and they have to go to every water clock and so on, and collect this data. And this system was to automatically detect and this data. Mm-hmm.
Thanks for that example, Thomas. Hannes, probably you can also just very briefly and just as another example outline what the group you accompanied last year worked on.
Sure. First, to say, Thomas mentioned it, CERN is always doing the software on their own because they want to be independent. So all the technologies are self-made and free. My team, with I was there, we were working on a system called SunnySync. The idea was to collect all the health conditions data in an ambulance, so that the physician has only to speak when he's reading the pulse and the heart rate. And we also use C2MON to collect all this data and to transfer it to the next hospital. And this was the idea. And another example, the team which is incubated now at Accent, they were called Halbert. They did a KI, which is securing your smart home, but not your smartphone and computer. They are focused on smart TVs and, for example, Alexa. It's kind of security guard which is in front of your router and which is protecting your home. And I'm really sorry, I don't know the technology they used, but they are very lucky with it. So it can work. The team fits and the idea fits.
Great. Thanks a lot for that examples. I understand, Hannes, that's kind of a firewall system with which they are developing basically for smart home applications. Elisabeth, would you like to briefly say, let's say, what the next steps, or let's say potential next steps and application processes are? I mean, Hannes already outlined it, but just to, and then I would say we have plenty of time still to go into Q&A.
Yes, sure. So indeed, it's important to clarify a little bit more on the application process, also from our side, from the side of FHWN on the university, because we are there also to help you in the team formation, in finding team partners. What is important is that we do meet the application deadline by April 15th. So that means you can apply by April 15th as a team, or you can apply as an individual person. You don't need to have prepared a full business plan by then. So important is that if you are interested to participate, you submit your application at the web portal of Accent, the open call. You can see the link here. And also inform us at the FHWN Startup Center. Yes, if you have questions before, also never hesitate to contact us. What we would like to suggest to make the path a little bit easier to find ideas or to exchange on your ideas is we would like to organize a brainstorming session, ideally around the 7th of April. That would be a Wednesday evening, but we suggest this date. We were open to your requirements in terms of timing. We want to offer this extra session for people to exchange on ideas, to see, is there somebody else interested? Does somebody have a similar idea? Or can I exchange also these some technical questions with some of the technical staff also from the FHWN and so on. So this is an open evening which we want to offer for exchange and brainstorming together, everyone at the FHWN. And then please meet the application deadline April 15th. And then there is this phase when Accent and CERN will select a team, which means that goes another month until 15th of May. So 1 month later. And during this month, we still would like to help and support everyone that is still interested joining a team to find a team. So there, as we said, there is the possibility also to make an individual application by the time of April deadline. So during this month later, anyone interested to joining a team can contact us, and we will then see if this person can fit into a team that is just forming up. And for this, the deadline is May 15th, so mid of May. And also during this until the final selections, the shortlisted candidates will be asked to submit their CVs and other documents, a one-page on the idea. Yeah, that's so far to know about the application process. And then I think we heard already today, there will be a kickoff evenings together with the CERN representative, a technical person that knows on the technology that you already suggested and would like to work on. That kickoff is planned to take place in the end of June. It will be an afternoon of a program. Yeah, okay. And all the information we will keep updated also on our FHWN Startup Center website. So please always check for news there. We will also, if possible, we will see if this recording from today can be shortened a little bit and can be put on the website, so that anybody interested can also still find some information there through the recording. And yeah, please always contact us for any question, any idea, any just idea for somebody else, for the team you heard of, and so on. Thank you.
Thank you, Elisabeth.
Yeah.
I think it's now time for Q&A. Thomas, you raised your hand. Thomas Poscher.
Yeah, thanks. I put the links to the 2 technologies from CERN that were used for these groups. Root was the technology used for the firewall, and C2MON was the technology for the monitoring system. I put the links to this in the
Great,
chat.
thank you. We will also have the link on the presentation that we will distribute afterwards on the knowledge transfer network and the full list of technologies.
Perfect.
Let me start with the first probably natural question. Does that and open up the Q&A, and then everybody is invited basically to follow. Let me ask the question: does it cost anything? Or what are the costs associated to the program? It's basically we together Accent basically is paying, let's say, for the week as such in CERN for those admitted, and we as a startup center FHWN, we hopefully will bring you there. So we are sponsoring the transport, and that means basically it's basically free for those admitted to the program. I think that's important to understand. Of course, it's competitive. I think so. It's important that you apply for that. Please just open up your mics and shoot out any questions you already have. And the important thing is, of course, also after this presentation, Elisabeth from our side or you can just directly email us or get into direct contact with Startup Center or directly Elisabeth, and we'll try to help you on any questions you have. So just shoot out your questions if there is any.
Yeah, well, I start. It's Andreas. I would have some question to the idea. Yeah. Is it not necessary to have an idea to participate, or I mean, I have an idea, but it's quite in an early stage, like really only idea. I don't even know if it's technically possible, or would this also be already enough to, let's say, at least apply for this week?
Let me. Oh yeah. Oh, Michael. Michael, you want to answer that?
Yes, I think having an idea where you're not sure if it's technically feasible makes it especially interesting, because this is what makes the future interesting. So I would try to apply with this idea and see whether there is a connection point to the CERN technologies. And if there's not, we can also see whether there is some idea input from CERN's side. But I think the first step would be to check if the idea is feasible. But I like ideas which seem to be unrealistic, because those are very spectacular ideas normally.
Okay. Fine. Thanks.
I think it would be an advantage to have an idea and a problem you're solving. That's the interesting thing. You know what I mean, Andreas?
Yep. I mean, it will solve problems, yeah. And
Right.
yeah, but yeah. And but also, I have also maybe 2 ideas. Is this also okay? Or yeah, okay. Because I saw that you have to describe your problem in 5 sentences, somewhere on the application side, and yeah, it's 5 sentences, a bit less, yeah. But okay, so it doesn't have to be like really detailed or.
No, it doesn't have to be. That's the reason why there's the 1-pager in the following steps.
Yeah, but that's at the later point, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just keep it short and simple and interesting.
Okay.
Do you have a team, or do you apply on your own?
No, I'm single person. Yeah. And that's also if you then like have a single idea, as a single person, then the projects to be done are chosen, and then there will be groups formed out of the ideas.
Yeah, and on the other hand, you have people without an idea, but they have interesting CVs or.
Okay. Okay, so it's chosen by the ideas, let's say.
Not only by the ideas, also by the person. Your experience and your background is also very important. So you can also apply without an idea, and then you get matched with the team or the persons with ideas.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, I mean that there are groups for the ideas, and then people can join the teams. The idea teams,
exactly.
Say it like that. Okay, fine, thanks.
And also maybe Tom, if you can complement to this also, the important is also if you know how it's being used, if there is a clear connection. So if you can already list a few stakeholders that would be interested in using this, then that helps also, I think, in ranking your idea a little bit higher. So if you say you don't know whether it's technically feasible, but you would know already in your area, in the stakeholders, you would know so and so many people or persons or institutions or whatever that are interested in that, it could be actually a very good chance for you to try, because unless you don't have access to technical support, it would maybe take you a long time to find out, and that could be a good chance then. So it's also the side of the users which you could be an asset for. It depends on your idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it would be like rather medical. So yeah, 100%. Yeah. Okay.
I think also medical projects, they have also a lot. When you go, I also put in the chat now the link to the list of technologies. If you go through them, you see also a lot of examples. I mean, they are much wider examples of technology transfer and knowledge transfer. They are beyond projects with students. They are big projects with big institutions, with big industry maybe. But you can see also some highlights in the medical sector there.
True.
And you could just browse through their website.
Thanks.
Hello, Wolfgang Treversburg here. I would have a question. I didn't understood exactly the concept about the intellectual property management. So concerning the root example, it's, from my knowledge, is simply open source, so everyone can use it, download it. But I know about this MEDIPIX or TimePix collaboration or something like this, where you have ASIC designs and really industrial relevant stuff. And I don't know exactly, is the IP then held by CERN, or is it completely free, but then it's not protected for the company? Or is it afterwards transferred to the starting company to have some long-term concept how this could work out?
Well, this question is not so easy to answer. But I think what's important to say is there is a license agreement that will be done by CERN as soon as it gets serious. Of course, some technologies at CERN are already licensed by other companies, but what they usually do is you can get a license for your specific use case. So this is the way CERN can help you as a startup. But of course, the license agreement goes over the sales process. So as soon as you get into selling, then you will have to pay a small license also to CERN.
Okay, thanks. This seems totally reasonable. I just wasn't sure about how it is concepted.
Yeah.
I also put a link there in the chat now on this. And they explain it a little bit on their IPR policy.
Exactly.
And indeed, they operate a lot on principles of open source, open data, open hardware, a lot. So I think it depends. Again, it depends on what you're exactly looking at, and then you would clarify. But also in this, there could be a good chance to use that channel if you have a good idea.
It's more about learning something, and yeah, there is such plenty of knowledge. So it's also, I guess, I mean, yeah, not everything is on the table there.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe adding to this, it's important to say for CERN, it's not so important to earn money out of it because they have the goal to transfer know-how from their scientific institution to the European economy, because they are paid by taxpayers' money. So they need to show that part of this technology and part of this know-how goes back to the European industry. So that's their main driver. But of course, when it gets to license agreement, they're also happy to get some earnings, but it's not their main issue.
Maybe we, Thomas, I don't know, but maybe we should ask around a bit who would be interested for for the brainstorming session that we suggested. Are there any questions on this? Whether it's a good idea, or you would rather think of elaborate a little bit more your own idea and submit an individual application, or would you like to form small teams beforehand and so on? Because that was a bit a difficult question for us before preparing the info evening, because it's difficult to reach out to people and to students, especially during the Corona times, because we are all only connected remotely. So we thought that the brainstorming session offering such a online discussion would be the best way forward. But maybe if you have another good idea, would be interesting to learn about it.
I can speak only for my students in the energy master course. It's difficult for me to estimate how many would be interested. But if there are some interested in this topic, it would be nice to have this brainstorming session. As they are starting with almost zero knowledge about the technologies and what could be interesting ideas. So to have a discussion before they have to apply would be really helpful, I guess. But after the meeting today, I will have an info session with them about the topic, and then I can tell you more about the interest in the two groups. These are around, I don't know, 40 students. Maybe there are some of them who would be interested in participating in such a brainstorming session.
Yeah, great. Maybe that's also a good. Yeah, sorry.
Go ahead, Elizabeth.
I was just thinking it's a very good approach. Maybe some of the other courses our colleagues, some of the colleagues in other degree courses, maybe they could launch a similar initiative. I think it's a very good idea to stay also in the discussion first within your field, within your course degrees, within the Studiengang in German. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this information that we got today is very helpful for them to get a first idea and the first impression on what's the topic. But now it needs some time for them, maybe also over the Easter week, to think about that and to come with their ideas. And then it would be really nice to offer such discussion round where they can simply tell about their ideas, and maybe some teams are already formed in such brainstorming session. So the worst thing that could happen is that we have no ideas after the Easter week. But I would go for timing or scheduling such a brainstorming session already before Easter, and then see what comes.
Great. Yeah, I think that's what we can offer. So Elisabeth and we are flexible in organizing, let's say, shorthand such very informal brainstorming session. Yeah. And to help to, let's say, to further formulate ideas and form potential teams. Yeah, but in a first step, basically, it's about ideas. It's about, let's say, personal applications for basically forming the teams. We still have some time. Yeah, not too much. Basically until mid of May, but yeah. And firsthand, it's basically collecting ideas, yeah, or helping formalize ideas.
So for my next step, it would be very helpful to have the video, the recording of this session today quite soon. So Elisabeth, if you could, I don't know, transfer the video or give me a link to the video so that I can approach my students within that week. That would be very helpful.
Yeah, our plan is to put it on the website of the FHWN Startup Center. And then as soon as it's loaded there, I will send you the link.
Great.
Sure.
Any further questions?
Yeah, maybe I have a question more from inside. How do you roll out this information to our students? Or maybe direct the question to Mr. Dimnik or Grading as my students. How do you get this information of this big screening week? You just got an email or so? Because in my knowledge, we have no such information in our faculty in Wiener Neustadt. Maybe Herr Gradinger, where do you get the information from this big screening?
Mr. Handel sent the mail on Tuesday, last Tuesday.
Okay, just by mail. Okay.
Yeah.
That's probably a good internal thing also to discuss, and where we can learn is we basically rolled out the information via all the Studiengangsleiter, Studiengangsleiterinnen, and the faculties. Yeah.
And social media also.
And social media, yeah, but we will still do that again, yeah, so that basically everybody who is interested doesn't miss out the information before the 15th of April. Yeah. We intentionally did not, let's say, write an email to all. Yeah. So we basically we decided to go via the Studiengangsleiter and the faculty heads. Yeah.
But it's open to really, so even if you think your idea at the in terms of one or two students forming a team, but think wider. Try to think maybe a lecturer or an alumni that you know that is active in this field. Also, why not asking also somebody at the scientific staff at the FHWN? Don't hesitate to think a bit wider, open up. And then we can still see who can be there as a participant or how can these people support you.
Okay, thanks. I was just asking because I'm, for myself, I'm CERN member, and I'm also head of the CERN Corporation from Wiener Neustadt, FH Wiener Neustadt, but at least I not really hear about this more in detail, just a small email. And that's while wondering a little bit of the information flow inside. That's my question to my students.
We had it also in these EduNet events where you hear about all the research programs where, you know, this information platform on EduNet. I thought that this is where you regularly check for any activities in terms of funding or research proposals and so on. And there we put it already a month ago or so.
Thanks.
Helmut, let me directly ask you, would you think it's better way to directly write an email to all the students? I mean, we intentionally went via basically the Studiengangsleiter, because for them to spread the information. Because they.
Oh, sorry. Basically, I guess it's quite okay with the Studiengangsleiter. I'm not sure. Maybe to have an maybe at the end of the studies, like master students, more information. Or I don't know if we should have also in Neustadt in any kind of a bigger presentation or so for this presentation. When I was a student, I remember an event where the ESA made such an event on the Technical University of Vienna, also to present it in a bigger event to make it more public, these informations, and organize the events to address also people they maybe don't have an idea to look at such an event because they don't have an idea what should that be or what can it be. So in this way, to address also people they not have an idea in direction to generate any startups for themselves. Maybe that is useful, at least for maybe also alumnus from FHWN. In my opinion, it address more finished their studies, in my opinion, but I'm not sure if this is right.
No, definitely. I think it's also very relevant, I would say, for the alumni. This is why, at least what we can do is to reach out for the alumni clubs. Is it the perfect way to reach out for the whole community? It's not. I'm sure that we will never, reach 100%. But we're always looking for ways to optimize that. Yeah. So I think Helmut, thanks for your input. What
maybe
we'll
also
do after, Elisabeth,
maybe with your help, Helmut, we could. I mean, if I'm looking at Michael Moll now, if for next year we could keep that in mind, maybe we could organize something a bit earlier with some expert also from the Knowledge Transfer Network Office from CERN. I mean, of course, that would be maybe stand out more.
Maybe we could do this in a more central way, because of course we have several partners in Lower Austria. Therefore, it could make sense maybe to do it also at Palais Niederösterreich, where we already did some of these kind of events, because it's a neutral area. Yes, why not? It could be a good option, but of course, due to Corona reasons, we had no visits from CERN now in the last 12 months. And before that, we had visits, I would say, once or twice per year coming from the KT department. But we maybe can combine this in the next year when the pandemic is over. Hopefully.
Any more questions? Please. Otherwise, if not, I would say we close the evening. Thanks for all of you who contributed. Thanks Michael, thanks Hannes, thanks Elisabeth a lot, thanks Thomas, yeah, and thanks all the participants. As Elisabeth said, we will, as quickly as possible, let's say, circulate, let's say, the recording. And additional information, Michael will also share their presentation in English, I understand. We will circulate this to everybody who was in the call today. So our goal is, let's say, to collect basically as many, let's say, interested parties, individuals or teams before the 15th of April. Yeah. Before that, we will offer, let's say, an forming ideation session, probably on the 7th of April in the evening, so before the 15th, yeah, to support that, and thereafter, basically, we'll try to form teams out of that. Yeah. So any questions, please reach out to us, to Elisabeth, and happy to receive a lot of, let's say, interest on that. I think it's a very, very good opportunity. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Thanks everybody. I wish you all a nice and hopefully enjoyable rest of the evening.
Thanks for the invitation, Thomas.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thomas, danke. Ich sage auch einen schönen Abend noch an dich, gell?